let's talk thrifting. I have loved thrifting for years and years now. I do it less now that I have kids because I want to go by myself more often than not, but I still do love it, and it's an awesome thing. I almost said skill. I guess it's kind of a skill. I guess that's kind of the point of what I'm sharing today. I'm like sharing with you like pro tips on how to thrift well. Because I do have sometimes people ask me like, oh, I really like what you're wearing, but I would never be able to thrift that. And I'm like, you can, you probably just don't know like the key things that I would say, like do this if you're going to a thrift store. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to The Natural Keep. Here on this channel, we talk about how to keep a physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy home. And I guess I do just a lot of like money saving tips and tricks. And I don't particularly know where this would fall. Maybe keeping a physically healthy home because there's less of a financial burden to just like thrift shop. But I guess that's the category that this would fall under because this is like a money saving thing and it can be a really awesome like creative outlet. So let me share with you some of those things. My number one rule, always what I tell people, never shop in your size. So there are like sizes in women's clothing and I always think that's a bunch of baloney because just the other day I thrifted a pair of pants that it says plus size 16, and I would never go to a store and be like, oh, I'm gonna go to size 16, but those fit and I got them and I love them. So it's been washed a bunch of times probably if it's at a thrift store. Just don't shop your size because every woman's body is different. Who says that this is a large and I should go straight to large in every store? And yeah, I just think you will have a lot more success if you're not like, oh, is this my size? And I never look at tags because when I'm thrifting because that is pretty much useless. And I think it in like normal stores too. Normal, like the mall or any other place you're gonna buy clothing. And my second thing is try different days of the week. Some people go on just like our local thrift shops around here are usually like Wednesdays, like a half off day. And I would say if you're just going on Wednesdays, you're gonna have, number one, a more crowded place. And number two, you're gonna have like what's picked through. And there's like a method to the madness of like what goes on the shelves and when. So if you go on a Thursday, you're going to find way different shelves stocked than you are on a Wednesday, which might be more things at the thrift store, like people that run the thrift store are like, let's get rid of this today because people will buy it if it's half off, right? So they're going to put out those things. I'm not saying like the crappy stuff is out on the half off day. That's not true. And actually usually there's a day of the week. There's something for every day of the week at most thrift stores, like a senior day or student and teacher day, which totally utilize those. Random side note, totally utilize those. I one time actually went to a local thrift store and I'm like, so it's like a student and teacher day. And I'm like, so we aren't in school yet, but does homeschooling count? And they were like, actually, yeah. And I'm like, good, because I'm teaching my kid everything he knows right now. So I'm like, I'm the teacher, he's the student, here we go. And I got the discount, like the half off discount. So yeah, go on different days of the week. You're gonna find different things on the shelves and you'll have a different shopping environment. I love shopping with the oldies on the senior day. That's like my absolute favorite day to go, even though I don't get any sort of discount. Go knowing what to buy. So like just like you would to a store that has like new clothes, I would say go with like the list of like, okay, I'm really looking for new shorts for this season. I definitely need a light sweater and a white t-shirt. So you're gonna like be able to like kind of go to those racks. You're like, all right, it's gonna be around here somewhere. I would say like not avoid, it just depends. I think it depends on your season of life. I don't do this anymore because of just like minimalism, and I'm like, I know what works for me. It needs to be really functional in the day because I'm like with babies and kids all day, that I'm not just kind of like going through and seeing like, ooh, is this a fashion statement? Is this? But I did have a season of life where I did that and it was so fun because I was like, weird way of saying it, but like a public kind of job. Like I was on a stage often. And so I loved the like, let me find a weird statement piece and then wear that this weekend. And then I would be okay to recycle that like a little bit down the road, but not like a super minimal closet. Whereas now I'm like, this works. This is what I'm keeping. And it's very particularly easy for me to have a minimal closet now. Did I just hear the baby? Hold on, I think it's the baby. No, he's still sleeping. Phantom cries. Any other mamas get that? I totally get that every time my kids are napping. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to share is if you're going with kids, this is just like a random tip. If you're going with kids, this is what I do when I'm going with my boys. So I don't thrift really that much, especially now like that we've like entered into like our home is pretty minimal. I think that thrifting can work against minimalism sometimes, but it always works for saving money. So I'm like, let me just try to go like, there's so many things you can thrift, you guys. You can thrift like nails if you need them for your walls. So like there's times where I'm like, put it on the list. I'll look for it next time I go and I will thrift. There's pretty much nothing I won't thrift. That was a weird way of saying that. Nothing I won't thrift except for like undies. I've never thrifted a bathing suit, but I'm open to the idea. Maybe that's weird. I don't know. I guess it's the same idea as thrifting undies, but undies feel like really used. I don't know. That just seems grosser to me. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's all gross. But yeah, this is my tip about if you're going with kids. I would say go like, and I always prep my 3-year-old that I'm going to be doing this. Not the baby because he's just kind of along for the ride. But I'll tell Theo, I'm like, hey, we're going to do, Mama's looking for a pair of pants and the dress for the wedding that we're going to this weekend. So we're going to go to those aisles first, and I do want to look at the books. And then we're going to end up at the kids section, and you'll get to play with the toys for at least 10 minutes. So that's something that he knows will happen. Like, we're going to end up at the toys. And when I prep him ahead of time, I have a lot more success as opposed to like, Mama, let's go to the toys, or like, are we there yet? You know? And I can really take my time. Like, we went to the thrift store the other day, and we were there for like maybe an hour and a half total, probably. And I would say only like 15 or 20 minutes of that was the toy section. So it can be done even with a 3-year-old. I also will sometimes, like yesterday we did this because he just reminded me. He wanted to have a lollipop. And we don't really do treats. I try not to do treats that often. He actually still gets a treat when he remembers, when he poops on the potty. We've been doing that for so long. Honestly, if anyone has any tips on how to end that, when your kid is like, has been fully potty trained, and maybe I just need one day to be like, no, you just poop on the potty now. But you'll get like a small thing, like a Tic Tac is what he's really into, or like a chocolate chip. Anyway, he wanted a lollipop. He was like, can I have a lollipop at the store? And I was like, yes, actually. Like, we don't do much candy elsewhere. So I'm like, this is a great way for you just to be like content and just quietly like kind of riding in the cart. We had a great time thrifting the other day, and that was something that we did. But I would say, yes, definitely pro tip is to like let the kid know, like, here's what we're going to be doing, and stick to that. Don't be like, and I want to go look at the baskets, and I want to go look at the lamps really quick, because they know it's not going to be really quick, and they know next time they come, this is going to take forever. So if you want to take forever, go ahead, but go ahead and prep them beforehand. Like, this is what we're going to be doing when we're there. I always love explaining to Theo, like, how this store is different from other stores. Like, you can find anything at a thrift store. It's really awesome, but you do have to look through it. It's not like I can go right to a rack and be like, oh, this is where this brand of white t-shirts is. It's like, I'm going to have to go through all the white things and see, is there something that I want? And I will try things on with kids sometimes. Like the other day, for example, I did try something on because I was going to a wedding and it needed to fit. I don't often do that because I'll be like wearing a baby and I'll just kind of like hold it up and be like, is this cute or no? Yeah, and Theo's not really my 3-year-old is not a super great gauge on what it actually is beautiful and what's not. He just says anytime I put something new on, wow, Mama, that's so beautiful. I'm like, thank you, buddy. He makes me feel so good, but it's not necessarily the best gauge. Anyway, those are my tips for thrifting. Let me know if you have any other things you're like, oh yeah, I totally do this every time and it's really helpful. Let me know in the comments below, or if any of these were helpful to you. Do you thrift with your kids? And if so, do you have any other tricks on how you do it? I would love to hear from you. I will catch you later, keepers.